joined us now. Good morning and welcome.
God,
I know.
Set me off again. Oh.
It's, I mean, you just see by just watching that, like, really, this has been tough. This has been a really tough 34 years. I mean, privately within your own life, you know, friends and family knew and have been incredibly supportive, but publicly saying this out loud, you know, letting everybody know. Yesterday was the first day, that article in the paper, the interview in the paper.
Yeah.
Waking up this morning, finally sort of having your truth out there. How do you feel today?
A mixture of relief and apprehension, I think.
Yeah.
When it was announced in Sunday Mirror, I was still in a bubble, you know, I was at home and you're on social media and the reaction was amazing, but still felt that it wasn't like the real world. And coming out today and then sitting here now, it feels like the real world, and it's really hard because I've been having interviews for absolute years, but this is such a big step for me to be open and honest with the true me that it's still a bit scary.
Well, it's not that long ago that I sat in exactly that place, and we said, as you know, we gave you a hug when you walked in this morning. One day we won't have to do these interviews. One day it won't matter. One day you will just be able to be you and get on with your life. However, we're not quite there yet, but every single time somebody does this publicly and makes it OK and proves that it's OK, then that makes it easier for other people. And one of the reasons I mean, there are many reasons which we'll come to, but one of the reasons, it was a very similar sort of thing for me, although mine happened almost by accident. I didn't realise the reaction it was going to get, is that it does help other people. Yeah.
No, absolutely, and I feel that that was one reason why I wanted to do the documentary, and if I was going to talk, I needed to talk about this for myself and my own well-being and my own mental health. The documentary was a way of me articulating the fear I've had for so many years and to enable me to have a platform that hopefully educates and informs people of the complexities of maybe being gay as well. You know, I've never said that ever, that I'm a gay woman publicly on TV, and people don't realise how hard it is to say that word. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed, and I've been since I was 18, but it's really hard when you're documenting different parts of your life that you've had to keep inside.
Well, part of the fear stemmed from the fact of part of your childhood dream was to be in the army. And of course, and I didn't actually realise this until today and was completely shocked and horrified, but until 2000, 2000, like that's a futuristic number, 2000, it was illegal to be gay in the army. So you, at the age of sort of 17, 18, joined the army, realised during this time that you were gay, and then suddenly this dream, this childhood dream of being part of something is now telling you this absolutely natural feeling inside is wrong and illegal.
Yeah. You were read kind of about the rules of homosexuality in the army, that it was illegal to be gay, and yet you can't change who you are. So I grew up with that fear in my head because I absolutely loved being a soldier in the army. It was something that I really wanted to do. I was in for nearly 10 years and yet I couldn't express that, and it was really difficult because there was interrogation that happened. In the documentary, I explain it a lot, and I speak to some people that really dealt with some, you know, quite shocking things. But for me personally, you know, having raids, it was scary, humiliating, embarrassing. You know,
raids in your
so in the barracks,
to find out if you were gay. Discover you.
For people, some people were tipped off. The Royal Military Police would come into your barracks and literally turn everything upside down, take everything out, and you'd be left with all your belongings and everything just laying around. And all they were trying to find is if there was any evidence that you might be, you know. And back then, you know, my friends and family would write to me because it was letters, you know, it wasn't modern day with the technology. And, you know, if you got tipped off, you put everything that wasn't even anything to do with your sexuality into a box just so they can't say, oh, love Kerry or love Lisa, my best friend from school, or my sister.
And hide it in the boot of a car outside.
You put it in a boot of a car so they can't, because you don't want to risk court-martial, being jailed, and that's what happens to people.
There were people who were court-martialed. There were people who were discharged in disgrace, who had their medals taken away from them, who had to explain to their parents that they essentially, the army outed them because they were discharged and had to tell their folks why it had happened.
Yeah, and, you know, what you have to remember is it's a career. People fight for their country, and that's
Put their lives on the line.
Put their lives on the line. But saying that, the documentary also goes through how great it is now. You know, I have a love-hate relationship. I'm also honorary colonel with the Royal Armoured Corps Training Regiment, and I never was able to tell them. It was almost another barrier for me not being able to be me, because I was so scared that if anybody found out, and this has been 34 years of being so scared that if they found out, I could still be in trouble. I just didn't know.
So retrospectively looking back, that you would still face sanctions now?
That's what I thought. And
Wow.
It was only when I had a really bad breakdown, December 2020, that I knew I just had to do something because it was so bad.
What effect did it have on your mental health?
Everything, you know. I talk very openly about my mental health, but I've always been able to relate it to sport, you know, being disappointed, having injuries. And yes, there was an element of that because I wanted to be Olympic champion since 14 and it was me. But I became self-harmer. I didn't want to be here, frankly, at some point in my life. I've been in a bad way a lot. And 2020, I had a really bad breakdown. I knew if I couldn't release it, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I had to do it.
And you said yesterday in your Instagram that you were scared. I think I wrote back and said, don't be scared, because it'll be OK.
Oh, you do.
How do you feel now?
I am relieved to finally do it, but it's hard to unravel everything. So I know the relief will come gradually, and I think, you know, the responses are really helping me. I don't look it.
Yeah, it's a release, isn't it?
It's sort of that relief and the final thing of releasing myself to have my life, because I don't feel I've lived my life. I can honestly say I don't feel I've ever been happy. So I hope...
Do you think you can be happy now?
Yeah.
I think so. And, you know, what you have been, where you have been lucky is that your family and your friends have been incredibly supportive all the way through this. You've had that backing.
Yeah.
And you tragically lost your mum not that long ago. But she wanted this for you, didn't she? She wanted you to be open and honest.
Yeah. You know, my friends and family have been there all the time. I lived my life privately, you know, just as me, Kelly, the mad one, and the child. I'm more distraught that they put in my age in all of this. I'm only 39. Come on, guys. But no, they have. And my mum passed away from myeloma, and it was just devastating. It was almost the start of me needing to change. It ripped my heart apart, and she always wanted me to just live my life. So it was a start, but it's still taken, you know, 34 years of saying it, but a 4.5-year process to even get to this. But I am here now, and I know out of everything that I feel hurts me, I do know that, and I hope that, like yourself, I have an authoritative voice to change things, to make things better, that people don't live in fear, that people can just live their life, because we all have a right to do it. I had different things that were complex because of the army, and then becoming an international athlete, and no one spoke about being gay. I had both sides that were just... I had nowhere to know how to go to be who I needed to be. And, you know, now, obviously at the age I am now, I just want to live my life.
So you're those moments, those great sporting moments, you know, an Olympian, you know, a medal-winning Olympian in front of all of those people, and that is always in the back of your head.
Yeah, constantly. Because the thing is, I only ever thought about being an Olympic champion. That was literally my dream, and obviously to be in the army. And I finally did it, and I'm never going to say it wasn't the best days of my life. It was absolutely amazing. I had this massive homecoming parade for me, and 80,000 people come out, and I'm on the bus with all my friends and family. But in the back of my mind, which has always been there, it's consuming, that I just worried, like, is people going to find out? Are they going to say something? Will someone out me that I've known about me, just because I still had the fear of what the army might do? It wasn't really the fear of people knowing about me. It was the fear of what the army might do, and that was the complex bit.
But we'd be wrong not to say that there is an enormous change in the army now.
Huge.
I mean, it's a different world.
Absolutely.
Thank God it's a different world.
Yeah, I hope people see my documentary being me on Sunday, because they'd be really shocked with the transformation that the army has brought over the past, 22 years.
Yeah, and all the services. That has obviously had an enormous impact on the timing of this. So what was the moment? Was it getting away from that? Was it a mental health thing that now was the right time? This weekend was the right time to do it.
We know things have changed over the years and there is more visibility out now, but we've all gone through this massive pandemic and it shocked a lot of people. But I got quite ill with COVID, and I was laying on the sofa one day just thinking, when I die, all my friends and family will stand at my funeral saying, wasn't it a shame she couldn't be her? And I felt that was my right. And I just needed to find a way to do it. I just didn't know how to do it. And the one call that I did to a brigadier, I just had to make this call just to say what would happen if I come out, and she said nothing. And that one call changed everything for me.
It's a conversation I had with you.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And this is a conversation that this is probably happening in households up and down the country, around the world, and actually having both of you having done it and been terrified to do it, look at where you are now and look at where you are now.
Yeah.
Like, it is possible. And I know you just said to yourself, you just said here, I've never been happy. And I hope that you look forward to that happiness now and see it as a real, tangible thing.